Imagine coming home after a long, exhausting day, thinking that you will find comfort, love, and warmth. You believe that the person you trust the most will be there to protect you. You feel safe knowing that they are the one who stands by your side. But what if that very person, the one you think you can rely on, was plotting your end all alone? This is a chilling tale of Saurabh Rajput, his wife Muskan Rastogi, and her lover Sahil Shukla. A story that begins with love but ends in a horrifying crime of betrayal, manipulation, and darkness. This case is going to make you question the darkness that lurks behind even the most trusted relationships. Saurabh Rajput was a 29-year-old former merchant navy officer who had spent most of his career working at sea. After years of hard work, he decided to settle down and create a life with Muskan Rastogi, whom he married in 2016. They were a young couple full of dreams, and Muskan in particular was eager to begin a new chapter with him in Meerut, Uttar Pradesh after their marriage. Despite a few differences and the challenges of adjusting to a married life, Saurabh and Muskan had their daughter in 2019, and for a while it seemed like their family was complete. But cracks soon began to form. Saurabh was always away for a long time, working in London, and his absence created a distance between him and Muskan. She started to feel lonely and trapped in the life that she had built with him. And then came the revelation that shattered her image of their life together. Saurabh had lied about his job. He had never been in the Navy as he had led her to believe. Instead, he had been working in a bakery in London. This was a significant blow to Muskan's perception of their life, and the realization began to eat away at her, feeding her dissatisfaction with their marriage. Muskan knew her from her school days in Meerut. They were not really close during school, but in 2019, after reconnecting through a WhatsApp group for school alumni, they began to talk more frequently. Sahil was involved in drugs and occult practices, and he had changed considerably since school. He introduced Muskan to his world, and soon their conversations shifted from simple chats to something much more intimate. Muskan, feeling increasingly isolated, found herself drawn to Sahil and his chaotic lifestyle. Sahil's influence over Muskan grew really quickly, and the more they communicated, the more she distanced herself from her husband. Muskan felt an excitement she hadn't felt in years, and Sahil, who was deeply obsessed with her, began to manipulate her emotionally. Muskan began to enjoy the attention, and Sahil, now addicted to drugs, led her deeper into his world of substance abuse. But their affair was far from innocent. As Muskan and Sahil's relationship grew more intense, something darker began to take shape. Muskan knew that Sahil was heavily involved in black magic and superstitions, and she started to manipulate Sahil further. She convinced him that his deceased mother was communicating with him through Snapchat, telling him what to do. This was a major turning point for Muskan. She too became involved in the same occult practices, further isolating her from the real world and her husband. Muskan began to suggest that the only way for them to be together was to get rid of her husband, Saurabh. Sahil became convinced that he had to take extreme measures to secure their relationship, and he twisted Muskan's thoughts, making her believe that killing Saurabh was the only way forward. They twisted each other's thoughts, making themselves believe that killing Saurabh was the only way forward. The darker elements of their relationship began to show through the facade, with Sahil even using his black magic beliefs to manipulate Muskan into taking such a drastic step. They had already spent months growing closer, and by this time Muskan had completely fallen under Sahil's influence, and instead of choosing divorce, which would have been a less violent solution, Muskan decided that Saurabh had to die for her to live her life with Sahil. On 2nd February 2025, Muskan bought 2 knives from a local store, telling the shopkeeper they were for cooking chicken. She also visited a doctor to get anxiety medication that she could use to sedate Saurabh. Muskan began to drug Saurabh's food over several days. Each time he ate, he felt weaker and drowsier, making him more vulnerable. The stage was set. Finally, on the night of March 4th, 2025, Muskan and Sahil put their plan into action. They drugged Saurabh, making him fall into a deep sleep, and once he was unconscious, they took a knife and brutally stabbed him multiple times. But they did not stop there. They also dismembered his body, cutting it into 15 pieces, and they hoped that this would make it impossible for anyone to identify him. After killing Saurabh, Muskan and Sahil had to dispose. They placed the dismembered body parts into a large drum, filled it with cement, and sealed it tightly. This was their entire plan to hide the evidence and to make sure that no one would ever find Saurabh's remains. They thought that they had successfully covered their tracks. But their lies did not stop there. Muskan began sending messages to Saurabh's family, pretending everything was normal, as if he had just gone on a trip to Manali. She even continued to message him from his phone, keeping up the illusion that he was alive. Meanwhile, she and Sahil went on a trip to Shimla, acting like nothing happened. They posted photos, laughing and enjoying their time they had together while Saurabh's body lay hidden in a drum back home. But all lies have an expiration date. The truth always has a way of coming out. After a few days, Saurabh's family began to worry. They could not reach him, and Muskan's stories began to seem less believable. Saurabh's family alerted the police, and an investigation began. When the authorities opened the drum containing Saurabh's remains, the horror of the crime became clear. The police quickly traced the crime back to Muskan and Sahil, and they were arrested on March 18, 2025, and after hours of interrogation, they confessed to their crime. Muskan admitted to everything: her affair with Sahil, the murder of her husband, and a brutal cover-up. Sahil also confessed to his involvement in the murder, claiming that it was obsession with Muskan that led him to carry out the crime. He also confessed to his involvement in black magic, which had manipulated both him and Muskan into thinking that killing Saurabh was the only solution. The case sparkled nationwide outrage. People could not believe that a woman could betray the man who had loved her, the father of her child, in such a horrific way. The cruelty of the crime, combined with the involvement of the black magic, shocked the entire country. Legal experts, citizens, and even celebrities expressed their disgust, and many people demanded justice for Saurabh. However, what made this case more complex was the existence of the fake evidence. A deep-fake video was circulating online which falsely implicated a police officer in this case. The video suggested that the officer was having an affair with Muskan. However, the police quickly identified the video as a fake, and the person responsible for spreading the false video was arrested. The case of Muskan Rastogi, Saurabh Rajput, and Sahil Shukla is one of the most shocking crimes in the recent memory. It is a tragic story of love turned into hate, trust shattered into pieces, and a crime so horrific that it defies understanding. Muskan, consumed by her affair and under Sahil's influence, chose a path of darkness, and in the end, her decision led to a brutal murder of her own husband. This case serves as a chilling reminder of how far some people will go for love, greed, and obsession. But it also highlights the consequences of manipulation and the dangers of getting into toxic relationships. In the end, no matter how dark the plot may be, justice will find a way to bring the truth to light.